Alright, so what he do, what he donski is the Broskiedoodles in the hizzle. Your boy Steven over there. Tell him what's good, Steve.
Everything's good, man. Everything's good. It's we just passed a tropical depression, Sally. Not very. I mean, I guess I don't even know where it came from. It just all of a sudden showed up, and it was raining a little bit, and we're like, oh, by the way, yeah, you're gonna be inundated all weekend. So
What, there was a storm over there in Florida?
yeah, and it's funny because my girl went to Naples. Because of all, because it was her friend's birthday, it was supposed to be a beautiful weekend, and then all of a sudden, that's Florida for you, bro. Just fucking weather, unpredictable as all can be. So, what about you,
Sally? So that it's gone now?
Yeah, it's gone, and actually a great sunny day. So, I'm gonna try to take advantage of that. But,
well, I started playing football with my football friends, indoor football at the moment.
Is that the football with your foot, or the football?
Yeah, with the foot.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. It's soccer. Soccer, guys.
Soccer.
So it's football. It's alright. It's a British football. It's for the real men.
Is it soccer because you should wear socks?
Or because you suck. As like
Sock. Yeah.
As a continent. As a continent. So if you hear the laugh from somebody that's sinister, scary, and maybe burglarizing your house, well, we do have a special guest today, guys.
Oh shit!
I'm not even gonna introduce him. I'm gonna let him let you guys know who he is. But yeah, identify yourself.
I am a member of QAnon.
We have some interesting questions.
Yes. Don't trust the government. Don't trust the president. Don't even trust me. You can't trust anybody, not even yourself. Run for your life.
Are you like the V for Vendetta in Hialeah?
I'm W for Wachete.
Are you cooking crack, or are you dissolving bodies with chemicals in the basement that you're in?
No, the thing is that I was warned by Fauci to wear a mask because I could even get it through a Zoom call. So I don't want to, risk it.
Hey, dude, fuck it.
Knowing you guys, but
protect yourself while you protect me.
I will. But I think I can trust you guys. I know you guys haven't been any shady locations, right?
I don't think I've had it.
Right. I don't know about Stevie. It doesn't look good.
No. The strip clubs are very sanitized.
Yeah, actually, it was a. Did you see that that article that nightclubs and something else are going to remain closed? Strip clubs, however, strip clubs are fine. They're going to be open.
For real?
Guys,
strip clubs? Yeah, they're fine.
Mayor, whatever he manages.
What, de Blasio?
Only in Miami.
Oh, in Miami.
Miami.
Right, dude. I mean, like this motherfucker doesn't own a couple of them strip clubs, dog.
Yeah.
Fucking Tootsies and Scarlets. He has fucking 50% of that shit. Yo, but that's funny. In New York, there was a protest because gyms were allowed to open.
Uh-huh.
But there's like a subcategory of gyms which are the ones that do like CrossFit training and like this type of like class type shit where like you're like in some basement and then like, okay guys, so like let's pick up this, So
high intensity interval training.
All right, I'm sorry. But
sorry.
But yeah, so they're like, no, you're too close, right? And then the guys are pissed off, right? Like the owners, and I understand though. Like if you're gonna open gyms, like why not open this shit? I don't see the big difference. But to be honest, I was kind of glad because I was like, yeah, fuck those CrossFit motherfuckers. For some reason I don't like that. Nothing against you. Like I'm pretty sure this shit is good for you, but one day you're just gonna bust your knee and it's just gonna pulverize. I mean, it cannot be healthy, to be running around and doing a downside shit in 1 minute.
Yeah, they say that those are probably more likely for people to get hurt. But then, couldn't you say the same about the NFL? You know what I mean? Or
well, I think with the NFL, you can say that you will die. I mean, the NFL is pretty fucking.
Or boxing, right? I don't know. Is there boxing happening these days? I guess if the two people
get tested and then they bubble.
Yeah.
What if they both get tested and both have it? Can they agree to go and fight?
Then they can-
As long as they have the same strain.
Hey,
No, but it's
valid.
funny, right? Like I went to play football, right? And we went into like this complex that has like tennis courts and like squash. You know that game? I call it paddle, or like whatever.
Squash. Is that
Squash.
like highlight?
Racquetball.
Oh, racquetball. That's the shit, though.
Yeah, like the rich people call it squash.
Oh, sorry, you're rich.
No, I'm not, but I've heard of it. But in this place, like they have like little courts for different things, tennis, squash, whatever. And we went to play indoor football or soccer. And when we're coming in, the lady's like, wait. Have you guys gone to the office and disinfected yourself? And one of my friends that's like, on top of things, like quick, he's just like, oh no, yeah, Kiko, he has this disinfectant, and we're all good to go. And she's like, all right, and we just go. And then once we get to the court, we take off the masks and we play. And after that, as a ritual, every time we finish the exercise, we go to a respective bar to destroy everything that we've done in the last hour and a half. So we go and have beers, right? And once you get to the bar, it's like, okay, you have the mask. And then once you sit, okay, you take it off. And then you're around a bunch of people. And it's just like... And I was just thinking with my friends, right? I mean, some of my friends are a bit younger. Some of them are my age, around 30. But the younger ones are just like, yeah, I had it already. Fuck that. Even though I had it, I'm out there fucking... I'm just like, damn, chills. But, like that mentality, right? And then my older friends, some of them are like, no, fuck, this is a conspiracy, all this bullshit. And then I'm sort of in the middle. I'm like, I'm scared of it, but I'm also like, do we need to be locked down forever? And he was telling me, like, the masks that everybody wears, they're supposed to be one-day masks. And he asked all of us, like, did you throw it away yesterday and got a new one? And we're like, nah. Like, the ones that wear the cloth one, you have to wash it every day. Do you wash it every day? Like, nah, not really. Nobody does. So, even if it was... And I think it has to protect something. Like, at least if you're spitting shit out, like, that's going to catch it, regardless if it's the same mask from a week ago.
Yeah.
But given how they were at the beginning with this shit, like, no, it has to be the right mask because the particles and all this. But then people can just put a thong in their mouth. Like, how effective is it? Like, do you guys... I guess maybe I'm fucking rambling. When I'm editing this, I'm going to figure it out. Like, what the fuck are you saying, Kiko? Let your guest speak. No, but you guys tell me, like, what do you guys think? Because I think now I feel comfortable talking about COVID because it sort of feels like it's part of our life now. So I kind of want to talk about the nuance behind the little things that about COVID. Not like before, like, oh, it's panic, we're going to die. No, but like, this is something that we're living with. Do you think the masks really do something?
So, I mean, think about it this way, like, in reference to what you were saying about, you got to throw out a day-old mask and shit. Imagine getting a sheet of Bounty, right? And get one sheet that's completely dry and one sheet that's already soaked. And then try to pick up the same puddle. Which is going to pick up more?
A dry one.
The dry one. So, in essence, the wet one is the one that's already been used. You haven't wrung it already, you haven't washed it, or you haven't cleaned it. And some of them you can't really clean, like the single day you have to throw out. So if that's already packed with molecules, because it absorbs a certain amount, and after that it can't do it anymore. It can't do its process.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the whole cleaning thing is.
So would you agree that because most people don't use masks efficiently and correctly, and also let's not put this burden on the people, it's not an easy task to, like, I mean, first, like, the real mask, the N95, is pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't breathe at all with that one.
Yeah, it's pretty tight. I guess. Okay, so to kind of think about how I see masks, so more than anything else, I think the wearing of the masks, yes, although it does have a sense of protection for you, you are actually protecting the rest of the people. So, and so, like, for me, I think even if you wear the same mask, right, and you walk into a bar and somebody with COVID is speaking and the molecules of COVID is now stuck to your mask, okay, there is a chance that you potentially could breathe that in that very moment. I mean, if it's not one of these 95s or something a little bit. But let's say you don't, right? Let's say you don't, you wear it again, and now your chances of catching this COVID is higher because you're not washing it. and you're breathing it in, over a period of 24, 48, a week. Maybe you never wash your mask, you fucking nasty fucker. So, so you're going to catch it. But if you catch it and you're a responsible mask wearer, do you still transmit it? And so that's where I come in thinking, well, okay, like if you put a mask on and you just like cough or sneeze, if you could imagine a plume of like your spit and your wet molecules in the air, it's going to fall short compared to when you don't have a mask and you do it and it's like a big plume in front. I've seen like some super nice diagram of this, right? It falls short. So I guess what I want to see more people with masks on, whether you have COVID or not. You can do whatever, just keep that shit on. So I don't, like, my masks don't. I'm losing my train of thought here.
Like, what you're saying is because you're saying like it's easier to catch it than give it, which I don't really get either. Like, why would it be different? But the way that I look at it is what you just said. If you're sneezing, coughing, when you have a mask, that has to stop a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because like the small particles, they say can only be stopped by an efficient mask that's being used properly. But given that that's not the case, I'm not even worried about the little particles because I think we're fucked. Like if you ride in the metro, right, the underground, or a bus, like here in Madrid, they should open the windows on the bus, but they don't. Like, so at the end of the day, like the small particles, you're gonna get that shit regardless. I think. So the way that I look at it is, at least something has to be. It's gotta be doing something in regards to like the big particles, like when you sneeze, when you spit, when you speak. You have those motherfuckers that speak and they're always with I don't know if one of you does that, but like, dog, you don't even want to pass the blunt to? Like, nah, dog. You gonna kiss my blunt, dog? Get the fuck out of here, man. The type of guy you burn the tip of the joint for? Like, nah, dog, give me that shit back. Like, Corona, bitch, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I got boys who when this whole thing started, they just all started rolling their own blunts. Like, there's no more matching up.
No.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, no, you can bring your shit. I mean, you can come hang out, but I ain't passing you this blunt.
No, I mean, it's a great excuse for like the motherfuckers I never brought shit.
The stingy ones.
Now all of a sudden they're not coming out and hanging out. I wonder why.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's a good way to. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that real quick because I just found it interesting that a lot of my friends were like. A lot of them are just like, yeah, this is serious, but... And I don't know, I wanted to get like a feel of what other people think, so thanks for giving me your perspective on that. I didn't want to get off the topic today. We want to talk about a really interesting and actually moving story. I haven't watched it yet, but there's a documentary on Netflix called Octopus My Teacher, if I'm not mistaken, and Steven has watched it. And it's about this scientist that finds this really beautiful and majestic octopus, and he fucks the octopus until the octopus dies.
No.
What?
That's not what it's about.
It's really interesting. Yeah.
That was an epic summary.
No,
straight verbatim.
Yeah.
I mean, I just read the little info on the Netflix
4.5 stars. Out of 10.
So I think, I mean, I was just, because last night, all weekend I've been working on some major project, and I just kind of wanted to like kick back and watch something a little bit interesting and have something to bring to the table for you guys. And you know me, you know how much I love the animals, you know how much, all that stuff. So yeah, no.
Steven, the resident zoologist.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, today on out here in the kelp forest. The story.
Wow.
Story. Bear with me, guys. Come with me to the story room.
I'm totally submerged.
Okay.
Story times. Hello.
It was a stormy day in the kelp forest. And this guy who is all his life was a wildlife photographer, and he would be one of the stories he gave just to kind of give himself some credibility, is that he was in like Africa in the, oh man, I'm not gonna even say because I can't remember exactly. It was like just a brief moment, but he was with a lot of the world's best animal trackers, and these guys are tribal men. Like there's no shirt on their backs. They're walking around with sticks and barefoot, like tracking snakes and
to eat them.
To eat them, yeah. But he made. I guess they communicated in a way where they let the guy, the main storyteller, capture their tracking abilities on camera. And
is this hunting abilities?
Yeah, hunting. Well, he calls it tracking because you actually have to like track the animal and see where their
eating habits, where they go and mate and
exactly. And so these guys, I guess it was impressionable to him because it got to a point where he had fatigue from his job. Like he just was tired of doing it. He didn't want to pick up another camera. He didn't want to edit another video. Like he was done. And so he's from I think it's Australia, and he's sitting at his house and he remembers, like he was just getting into a rut, and he remembered back when he was a child that he would go swimming every day in the south, like the very south tip of the Atlantic Ocean side of Australia, which is weird because I'm thinking about it. Does the Atlantic Ocean get there? Whatever it was the kelp forest, and it's amongst like this little like cape, and it has like a lot of like rough waters or whatever. But he starts to describe it in such a beautiful way that, and obviously, and what's really interesting, guys, if you get a chance, watch it, because I really want to know how the fuck he captured all this stuff. Like he's capturing one instance where, well, I'll get there. Let me not go too far.
Damn.
Yeah.
This guy, bro.
Yeah,
this guy's on some shit.
It's just very interesting. It's just super duper interesting. So, anyways, he's going around and he's kind of getting a feel for that area where he grew up and where he swam when he was a child, and it's pretty deep, and you can grab the kelp and like bring yourself down. He's like a free diver. He's got no scuba tank. He's got no wetsuit.
Shit.
And he's just going down there, holding his breath forever. He's got the camera gear, and he's finding all these little animals. It's really, really cool, whatever. And then he finds this octopus, and he tries to get close to this octopus to like film it, and it swims away. And he's like, oh man, I lost my opportunity there. So it was kind of like, all right, whatever, we'll try again. And the so I'm trying to piece the story together in a straight line. But anyways, he comes back another day, and there's that octopus again. Like it's the same one, because you don't really see too many in this area, and actually it's usually a territorial kind of thing. Like they don't really come together. And I guess the whole point of the story was that eventually this octopus like kind of came up to him, and it created a bond and a friendship. He goes on later to talk about how these octopus are really just like, they only live for about a year, and so a lot has to happen in that lifetime. There's the hunting, the gathering, the growing, and then like the mating, right? And damn. Yeah, and all in 1 year. At least this particular species is what I'm trying to say. So then what else can I say? He becomes friends with this octopus, so much so that he comes back and uses this particular animal, this one animal, to document and do his whole documentary on. But he starts to
at what point does he fuck the octopus?
I'm still waiting for the Netflix summary to come through.
So he unfortunately never gets to fuck the octopus. No.
Well, I mean, you haven't got to the end yet, so you don't know.
After all the chasing, the octopus died 1 day after the year, right on the dot.
Pretty much, actually. It was 300.
He dies on the documentary.
Yeah. He captures the whole. He captures the whole octopus. Like,
the life and death. Wow.
And that's kind of what was awesome about it. Like in about midlife, day like 100 and something of documenting him, There's a shark, and this is the attack that I was talking to you about earlier. Is like there's a shark that can smell him in the area, right? And he's like, oh my god, like I should intervene. I should stop the shark from doing harm to this animal. But he goes, no, I really can't mess with the process. Like he's committed, and he understands the cycle of life or whatever. And sure as shit, like the shark ends up catching his arm, like one of the tentacles, and doing one of the death rolls that they do. They do like a snag on, they do a death roll, rip the whole arm right off. But the octopus was fine. Well, he was hurt badly. And it retreated into his eventually into her den. It was a female octopus. And
no wonder you wanted to fuck it.
He goes and he finds it like dying, and when they're not doing well, they change colors. So it's like when it's dying, it was like pale white. He's like, it's sleeping.
Aww.
And after like 3 weeks, he's like, damn, like what's going on? But then after the third week, he's not in the den. He's not in the den, but she's not in the den, she's around. And then you see like this little micro arm coming out. And it was like, oh my god, like finally, it's really cool, whatever. She's back and she's in action, and then she's learning to hunt better, so like there's like a real relationship building on this, right? I'm not gonna do the whole hour and a half story for you, but I guess it starts to learn how to defend itself even better. And what was crazy is that these are like antisocial animals, octopuses, and so the fact that it was trying to create a relationship and remembering who this person was, I mean, it was playing with fish, which it never really, like these animals just don't play with fish like that. It was chasing, it's non-predatorial. But then the right towards the end, the same type of shark comes back to try to eat it, right? And it's doing all kinds of crazy stuff, hiding in the kelp. It goes up in the kelp and like wraps itself around in the kelp, so it's like you don't actually see it, but like it's so incredible. Like you just find like these insane thought process coming from these animals, right? And what it finally did was it got away and it stuck itself into the sand, got its suction cups, and like wrapped itself like a burrito, but it grabs shells with it. It like grabs shells, so it looks like it's like this rock thing, right?
Ornate rock structure.
Yeah, it's like really crazy.
Yeah. So in the bottom of it sucks all these rocks and then it turns over.
Yeah, kind of like. Well, not over. It like
on itself.
Crunchwrap Supreme.
The Crunchwrap.
Damn.
Yeah.
Crunchwrap Supreme with the meat on top.
Yeah. So the shark finds it and starts yanking poking it, but it can't get to it because it's like it's full of like rocks, and he's protecting the head. Its head, and it ends up hopping on the back of the shark and riding that motherfucker out. Yo, for real. And you're like, dude, like, are you kidding me? Like,
some Avatar shit.
Some gangster shit. And then eventually the shark just like gets tired and he just like she lets go.
No, I mean, obviously it's a spoiler for anybody that's listening and is really down into the Octopus Teacher.
Oh, watch it.
I'm sorry.
It's
But
crazy
at the
to
end of
see.
the day, even if it's a spoiler, it seems like these things you just have to watch it. Like, it seems like what you're describing seems like it's just the images. And we've never really had, like, I mean, I guess it happens, but it's not common for you to have a film of somebody following the whole life frame of like a thing, of a living thing. But does he end up dying of natural causes? Like, okay. So
these animals, they mate, and when they mate, it's towards the end of their life. So they actually give birth to hundreds of thousands of little octopus, right? And only a handful of them really survive. It's like turtles, but even more, like more babies. And so like when he gets to it and he comes back to her den and he sees this other octopus there and he's like, oh shit, this is it. This is like when they start to mate. But he's like kind of like sad because he like knows like, oh, this is it for me. You know what I mean? And so yeah, I mean, you could see that she doesn't even move. She doesn't even eat. She's just sitting inside that den, taking care of the eggs, and feeding the eggs like the oxygen and the minerals from from the water. They've got like an exhaust, like the intake. The intake is just like sitting there, like sucking it up and shooting it out her butthole. I guess I don't know what's happening there, but and then right as she gives birth or whatever, he's there. He films the whole thing. It's really cool. And then you see her like just like laid out, strung out, like a little bit in front of her den, and like she's like, that's it. Like she just had enough to give up. Yeah, to take care of the babies, and then that's it. And then the next day he comes back to see, and like the fishes are going at it. And then the next day comes, and then finally a shark comes. The same fucking shark. You think it's the same dude?
The same.
But it ain't. I don't think it's the same shark. But whatever. He comes and takes her, and it was like crazy.
You're typecasting all sharks.
Yeah, I am.
No, but fuck sharks. Like I was just gonna say, like
fuck sharks.
No, but you always hear this shit whenever you're like, oh, sharks, because the way that humans look at it, we look at it the wrong way. Like they're peaceful creatures, and like they won't attack you really unless you attack them. And it's like, no, fuck that. He's fucking with his octopus the whole time, and fuck the sharks.
But I mean, like you also have to understand why he's fucking with the octopus this whole time.
Well, yeah, I mean that's how he survives too.
Exactly. So I mean, like,
what does the octopus eat?
Well, he ate a fucking crab. Like he actually he watched this whole thing, like the chase of the octopus and the crab, which is crazy to me because first of all, I didn't know crabs could swim like that. Like they swim fucking good at lobsters. But like it eventually tried to be like in its, I guess, early stages of its life, it tried to do like the swipe with the tentacles, but it's too messy. It's not strategic enough. And then it starts to learn, and then it goes behind it, and its tentacles start to reach out like around it, and it's really cool. And then it just like dives over it and creates a bubble, like a dome. And it just doesn't it's like it starts to inject them with the poison. And actually there's they have this one little tiny little like tentacle. On the end of each tentacle there's a tiny little like hard thing that they drill, and it has to basically like go right into the head of the mollusk or whatever it is that they're going after.
Trying to eat,
Yeah, so like you'll see him going on the beach looking at shells and studying shells. This guy looks like he's like solving the cold case of the year. He's got pictures. He's got pictures all around his room, and he's got like drawers.
With, like,
and drawers
the string,
of shells.
the string tying, like that.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. And he pulls out these drawers, and you can see like all of the little shells and all the different types of animals that this thing has eaten. But like, there's tiny little holes. And like he starts to go into the science of it, and it's kind of cool. I mean, I love marine biology.
So it has suction, it has poison, and then it has like this little
like a pincer, like a little point thing,
like a little pointy.
He says, if I remember correctly, like on the tip of the tentacles, there's something that it could just like, it basically drills. It's a drill that goes into the fucking.
Fuck that! This is not an animal you want to fuck.
No, but then yeah, right. Then
fuck with.
Then the octopus comes and like hugs him. Like throughout the shit, like he like comes and
like envelops him.
Yeah, envelops him. Like and it's all fun. It's all good, you know.
Yeah,
and he just sitting there like just petting his fucking octopus. It's pretty.
Now is this a big octopus?
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, it's not like one of these like 9-footers. It's it looks like I don't know, about the size of your chest, I guess. Like, you know.
And you're saying that this octopus could eat a crab? It ate a crab.
I mean, probably several.
Yeah,
that's crazy, right? How do they crush it? They have teeth?
Well, I mean, it stops it, I guess, and envelops, and then the crab is trying to get out. But in the moment that it's trying to get out, it's taking hits on its underbelly and like going in at the head or wherever it needs to go in. And
right, but then after he kills it, how does it eat it?
I don't know if he went directly into
Did they show that?
No, I mean, yeah, he takes off with it and takes it to the den, you know? Like it just stays within a pocket, like.
So you never see it eat it.
That's why I was wondering where you're saying like about fucking this octopus, because like you don't want to fuck it in the mouth or in the suction cups, because the mouth has like a beak almost parrot kind of teeth.
Oh fuck that!
Yeah. It actually.
It's probably the worst animal to experiment with.
Well,
if you're getting started on this bestiality shit, don't go.
Bro,
the octopus should be the like the real what's it called? Pinnacle? The pinnacle? No, the pedestal.
Don't put octopus on a pedestal. So he what?
No, I just think that basically it poisons it, so it stops moving, and then it starts to suck the meat out from within the shell. Because everything it eats, it's always the shell. Like it's always
like the shell stays behind, but everything else on the inside gets consumed.
So it has to be like some way, like I don't know, doing something.
Yeah,
maybe it's got a crab leg crackers like in its den or something that it goes.
He does a little dipping. He has a little melted butter. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure this guy rocks. You know, in his den like a bachelor. You know,
he goes in like puts like a little chef hat and shit.
Now, do you think Steven, part of what makes it cool is that for some reason when we look at like a living thing, we see the whole, you know, beginning to the end, sort of puts into perspective our own life? Do you think that's part of it?
Yeah, actually, that's what he was saying. It says, like, you know, when he saw the octopus get attacked, it kind of made him feel a better understanding for the vulnerabilities, his family, like how we are just living creatures, and you know, at any given moment we could be in danger, and we can lose our lives, you know. So I guess the study of it just kind of brought him to that realization. I mean, we all know we're gonna die, right? But do we really understand it? You know? So,
well, I mean, we understand it a lot better. I mean, we're aware of it, because it seems like, from what I understand, animals are not aware of it, which I don't know how we can really know that.
Well, I mean, you see also animals like crying, like dogs, like when one of their dog friends like gets hit, you see, like, or, you know, dogs are a little bit more emotional, I guess, but like there are animals, especially bears and other I you know, I don't know about reptiles or like cold-blooded animals,
like mammals, like monkeys.
Yeah, but monkeys for sure, you know. I would.
Well, monkeys are pieces of shit. I mean,
I'm
sorry, Steven. I know that you're the what's the word there, John?
Our resident zoologist.
Resident zoologist. But yeah, from what, like, there's videos of like monkeys grabbing other smaller monkeys and like tearing them apart alive just for the shits of it, like not even to eat them or anything.
No, yeah.
They have like they're smart enough to like be evil.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there, I mean, but that is like, we do the same thing to ourselves too, you know.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day,
piece of shits, we kill ourselves.
We think of us like a civilized thing, and we're not, right? I mean, you don't have the same optics, right? Because it doesn't look the same, like as a shark fucking tearing. But at the end of the day, we're also like protecting ourselves from attacks, and life is a fucking funny thing. I wanted to talk about a documentary that I watched, but I wanted to take a bit of the essence of what you said. Do you think, like, when you watch this, it got you emotional, like to the point of tearing up?
Oh, well, I mean, he's talking about it very, very, very eloquently, and it's like, it obviously is a cinematic documentary where you start to create this emotion behind this animal. So when something happens to this animal, and when he shows you his emotion, it's like when people laugh, you tend to laugh. When people cry, you tend to feel for them. So to that degree, yeah, I didn't necessarily like bawl, but I was like, you know, your throat gets a little.
So you did, like, you were in the verge of tearing up, if not tearing up.
Yeah, I felt for the guy. because he went there every day.
No, but can you say it? I mean, you don't have to feel like.
No, I did. I mean, I felt for him.
Did you feel more for the guy or more for the octopus? Because I felt like, to me, I felt more for the octopus. You know, like, fuck it, like living out its life, and then, you know, dying at the end, being a mother. You know, shit like it struck me in the sense of, like, you know. The mom does everything that they can to help the child survive. Yeah. Even if it means giving up her life.
Right. And what sucks is that, like, these octopus don't realize that motherly love, because it I mean, usually just passes right after it gives birth to this hundreds of thousands. So it's like it's more of the instinct, like an instinct. Exactly. So I felt for both. I mean, I felt for the octopus because, dang, you know, like, it almost becomes like you're your metaphorical pet,
Mm-hmm.
and then you feel for the guy because it's like, dude, this guy has dedicated. I mean, I can only imagine. He goes out there at nighttime, like in the dead of night. He goes out there in the day. Like, I mean, if I was his wife or his kids, I'd be like, Dad, like.
And this is
like,
is this out there in the sea?
Like hashtag no, hashtag no life.
Hashtag Dad, where the fuck you at, dog?
Like this is like this ain't in the coast type shit. Like this is out there.
No, this is in the. Well, it's in the coast, but I mean, it's deep and it's ocean, and it's like.
Fuck
and it's crazy.
that in Australia.
In Australia, dude.
Fuck that octopus and everything around it, bro.
Like,
are you insane, man?
No, watch.
I can't even.
Watch
I have
it.
to watch this shit.
Watch it.
Watch this. But talking about documentaries that make you tear up and get emotional and think about your own life, dude. I saw a couple documentaries along with the movie about it. I rewatched it about Apollo 13 and like the other missions, like the whole Apollo program, and dude, it was super crazy, the way that these people were able to design this thing to get to the moon. Once it gets to the moon, you have to drop a lunar module to go down to the moon. Like once you're in the orbit of the moon, then you have to get another ship to go to the moon. Then you get that one back and attached to the original ship, and then you go back, right?
Wait. Is this?
I'm sorry.
real?
I think I jumped.
Is this
What do
real?
you mean real?
No. I'm saying, is this what's happening currently?
I mean, they haven't gone in 40-some years, but they did this. What do you mean? What do you mean it's real?
Oh, okay. No. Yeah, because to be honest with you, I stopped listening like at the beginning of your story.
This motherfucker.
So, no, okay. So
people are really gonna care about the fucking topics.
No, I care, but like I zoned out on some shit. So tell me. So
Okay.
go on. I'm
So-
with you now.
Okay, so there's the Apollo program,
The Apollo.
and for the NASA space,
Space. Yeah. No, I'm here.
fucking astronauts and shit. So they went to the moon in 1969. Remember? Remember, right?
Yes.
Now
No,
1970, but
I didn't hear you say Apollo.
sooner.
I didn't hear you say Apollo missions. That's why I was
Okay,
like,
the Apollo, not the
Understood.
Apollo theater, the Apollo missions, right? So there's 13 or 14 missions, and then that's it, and then they move to another ship. The Apollo 13, you've seen that movie, right?
yeah. Well, I've seen. I didn't.
You've
see
heard
the
of it,
movie.
or-
I didn't see the movie, but I know of the mission, and I know like what.
You haven't seen the movie?
No.
Oh man, you're in for a treat, bro. Because I rewatched the movie,
Oh yeah.
and because I had watched a few documentaries on this, I rewatched this movie, which I saw when I was a kid, because it's an old movie. But not too old where it's like not good effects. And dude, it was just a different type. Like it was a different movie for me once I knew the little bits and pieces. So
Nice.
when I really encourage you to watch this. But so in Netflix, there's this documentary. It's called Mission Control, I think, or Command Control. No, Mission Control, which is the place in Houston where they sort of direct the whole astronaut thing, like the space flights. And you really get to find out what it is that they do, and that they're, like they do so much, like they pretty much do everything. We kind of always glorify the astronauts, which, don't get me wrong, they deserve it, but they're really just there, like doing, switching shit, and they're pretty much doing the things that like a robot couldn't do,
Okay.
but
yeah.
everything's like prepared and designed by the people at the bottom on Earth. So, I mean, I'm not taking credit to anybody. I'm just saying, like, you find out all the, like, because before you thought it was like Matthew McConaughey on
Yeah.
Interstellar, right? Where he just gets on a ship and he's like fucking, I'm fucking killing this shit. But no, it's like a lot of it is all done by the people at the bottom, like controlling the thing and everything. So,
Oh, so they're
Dude.
like remote controlling, opening the spaceship and all that stuff. That's not them like just hitting that switch.
a lot of things the astronauts do, but a lot of things that you wouldn't think the people at the bottom do, and then
Oh, wow.
and then there's a lot of things that the bottom tells the top to do, like, hey, click on this thing, click on that,
No.
right? So I won't. I'll try to like give you like a like a summary of it because it's a lot to watch, but the main things on it. They had the Cold War between Russia and the U.S. And they've had nuclear weapons for a while. The problem for the people that want to use nuclear weapons has always been, how do we get this shit far enough to hit our enemies, right? Because, we dropped, not we, America, U.S. dropped nuclear bombs on Japan, but you had to literally go with a plane over the thing and drop it, right? With time, they started designing rockets that could, or missiles that could take this nuclear bomb. But a nuclear bomb is heavy as fuck. So there hasn't, even up to today, like North Korea and shit, they don't have a rocket that can take the nuclear thing far enough. Like, I think they might reach Hawaii, but that's it. Like, I don't even think they reach Hawaii. So like, that's still an issue today. I mean, thankfully that doesn't exist, because I guess that will fuck us up. But like, the problem with the nuclear weapon for the people that want to use it is there's not a rocket that can go from here to Russia. Not from here. Let's say if Trump wanted to fuck with Russia, there's no rocket or missile that can carry a nuclear bomb from here, from U.S. to Russia. Same with like North Korea to Russia, right? So at that time, you had the Cold War. Nuclear warfare was like a fucking, like, if you think it's scary today, back then people were fucking, because it had just happened.
Right.
So they're thinking, okay, if we cannot literally take something and get it that far, how about we go to space and then we can like do a shortcut and then you can actually take it there, right? Because in space, you can actually use the inertia that you get to space with to like put you in orbit around the Earth, and then you can reinsert when you need to. Like, it just opened up like all these things. Like, so cool. Russia was the first one to send to orbit the Earth.
Sputnik, right?
Well, that's the
satellite.
The satellite, but it was in one of those missions, right? Like, first they sent like a thing, like a dog. It was Laika. It was back in the day, Laika. It was this dog. He died, but they sent like a dog to space, right? And he died. Then they sent a man, and he goes in orbit around the Earth, and it was a Russian name. I don't remember right now, but he's like the first man to go to space. Then they also do the first man to orbit the Earth. Then they orbit the moon, if I'm not mistaken. The Russians, they might have orbited the moon, but you needed to sort of like put your flag and hold your ground. So then Kennedy, JF Kennedy, when he gets to office, he's like, we're gonna go to the moon. Do not ask what you could do in the moon, ask what the moon could do for you. And so he's like, let's go to the moon. And he says, we're gonna go to the moon in 10 years. Like, this is like in 10 years or less, we're gonna be in the moon. And he said this in like 1960. So they start going to the moon, and they design the Apollo program. The Apollo program was designed to go to the moon. So they have Apollo 1. On Apollo 1, it was super tragic and sad. There was like this issue in the command module, which is like the little triangular thing where like the little astronauts are and everything else. It's like the tip of the thing where the oxygen gets there so they can breathe and shit. But oxygen is also needed to do combustion. So they have oxygen for both things. So once this thing explodes before it explodes at the bottom, because practically it's an explosion, some shit goes on in the command module and sparks the oxygen, and dude, the whole thing just goes in flame. And they had an issue where like they couldn't open it from the inside.
Oh my
dude,
God.
It was horrible, right? So after that shit, everyone was like, what the fuck? It's like, we need to have an all hands. What the fuck happened? We need to get on. Like, it was some shit like
all hands on deck kind of thing?
No, like an all hands, like where you get everybody from the company and like, let's get together. We need to talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, all right, everybody's in there? All right. What the fuck happened? Like, they fucked up, right?
Yeah, something funny.
And 3 astronauts died. So after that, they made like some creed where they were like, like efficiency and perfection, some shit like that. Like, we will never fail. Like, we will never commit mistakes again. Like, we're gonna be a fucking perfect machine, and they were. So then Apollo 2, they sent like a guy to space, and like Apollo 3, they, little by little they start doing more. Like Apollo 4, they go around the Earth, right? Apollo, different things. Then the first important one was Apollo 8, where they go and they orbit the moon. Now the way that this works is you get out of the Earth, and once you're outside of the Earth, you can stay in rotation around the Earth for free without wasting fuel, because you're in the orbit of the Earth. Once you're in the orbit of the Earth, then they, at one point, they use combustion to shoot towards the moon. And keep in mind,
slingshot themselves out there.
Yeah, you kind of use a slingshot, but you do need to put in some work to sort of get out of the orbit, because there is a force dragging you there. So you need enough of it to like get you out of it, but you do use the momentum that it has. And obviously, you're not pointing right at the moon. You're pointing at the trajectory of the moon, where the moon will be, right? Because it's all moving.
Yeah.
And then once you get to the moon, it's not like you just get there. Like you sort of, now you're in the orbit of the moon.
Yeah. Dang. So, that's crazy.
Which is crazy, right? It's insane, bro. It's insane. The insane part is when you watch these documentaries in the movie, the instrumentation they had, you're like, how the fuck did you do this? Like, with a fucking 1965 radio and shit. Like, dude, it's insane, right? So Apollo 8, they do the loop around the moon. Then Apollo 9 and 10, they're supposed to go to the actual moon. Actually, no, Apollo 9 and 10, they try out the lunar module. So now they need, once they're in the orbit of the moon, they need another spacecraft, smaller one, to actually get from the big spacecraft down to the moon and then come back. So they were doing a lot of testing on how they can do that. And then Apollo 11 is the one that everybody remembers, which is when Armstrong, Neil Armstrong. Yeah. And then, Buzz Aldrin and another guy, they go to the moon. And two of them actually touch the moon, and that's, everybody knows about that. All right, cool. They come back. On Apollo 8, the guy that was on Apollo 8, his name is Lovell. He's the guy that's played by Tom Hanks on the Apollo 13 movie. He comes back. On Apollo 11, he was a backup astronaut, but he doesn't go up. Apollo 12 comes. They go to the moon and back. No problem. Nobody ever talks about them because they're just like, oh, they went to the moon and again? Okay. So when Apollo 13 comes, Lovell just gets called. Lovell is the guy. He just gets called like, hey, you're going to go to the moon. He's like, oh, fuck, again. Okay. But he hasn't touched the moon. So he's like, fucking, I went around it. I was so close. Now I want to fucking go to the moon. All right. So he's the most experienced one, and they put him with two other guys. He's going to the moon. It's Apollo 13. His wife is like, why do you have to go on 13? It's a bad luck number. Like, couldn't you go on like 14? Or it's like, well, it's after 12, so it's 13, so.
Dude, but I mean, yeah, like that's, if I was his wife or if I was something like that, I'd be like, dude, like that's quite
yeah,
quite the number, quite the mission you want to go on, especially because, well, it was all within a 10 year span, so I guess it's all right. So sorry to interrupt. Continue.
Yeah, so 13, astronauts and scientists are like, what the fuck, we're not superstitious or anything like that. So they schedule the thing to like the flight will be at 1:13, which in military time is 13:13. To kind of like fuck with it, like suck my dick.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that's that, right? So then they go on the thing. Once they're going up, out of the 5 engines, one of them is not working. Like once they start like getting off the atmosphere, but that thing is just gonna take them to space, and once they're in space, that drops. So this is like the big part of the rocket is really just fuel, and they disconnect that right away. So they're like, well, command center at the bottom or mission control, they're like, no, it's not a problem. With 4 rockets, you're good to go anyways. Once you're up there, just discard it. All right, cool. They discard it. And then for 55 hours, it takes like 2 days, I think, to get to the moon, or 4 days actually. So 2 days in, they're good to go, right? Like they're on the route to the moon. And once you're en route to the moon, you don't use your rockets, nothing, because there's no friction, no nothing. So you just coasting.
Yeah.
So they do transmissions to Earth. You know, like these transmissions where you see the astronauts inside, which is crazy to think they were doing this back then. They had no internet. But imagine how crazy it is. People didn't give a fuck up because like Apollo 11 went to the moon, Apollo 12. People didn't give a fuck about it. So they didn't even broadcast the thing to like the news or anything. Like it was just to like the families of the astronauts, which like pissed off a lot of people. Like at around that week, the Beatles had broken up. This is an interesting fact. The Beatles decided that they were gonna break up. So it was like people cared about. It was like when we talk about like social media and nobody gives a fuck about, like that was what was happening. Like they had all social media.
Oh my god.
That movie Airport had just came out, so they were like on some other shit. So they didn't even, but they were like doing broadcasting. Everything was perfect. And 55 hours in, there's an explosion. Boom. And that's when the whole ordeal happens. I really want to talk more about like the craziness of it more than the technical part, so I'm gonna try to, but it's just so much of it that it's hard to summarize. But mainly what ends up happening is something blows up because of oxygen again. Like oxygen is super dangerous apparently, because any fire, like any little spark can make it explode. And you wouldn't think so, but the reason why a lighter can do this is because there's oxygen, there's a fuel, and there's a spark, but you need the oxygen. In space, there's no oxygen, so you need to have oxygen along with the fuel when you need to use propulsion. It's just so many things to it, right? But the thing is, for some reason, there's like a little spark that makes this oxygen explode, and part of their engine and part of their ship is fucked. So now they're heading to the moon, and their ship is fucked, and they're in a metal box with the computing power of a fucking 7th grade calculator. Like... And you need to watch the movie and documentaries because this thing is insane. What ends up happening, bro, is they decide, all right, let's get to the moon, and we're going to get on orbit with the moon and slingshot around the moon and come back. The problem is the main spaceship, to call it somehow, they don't call it spaceship back then, but it's fucked. So the lunar module, the little smaller one that they were going to use to go to the moon and back, which is not designed to really do the whole thing, like it's just designed to do that little thing, they need to now use that, right? But there's not enough power on that little thing to do what they need to do to come back. So then they need to like see how they fucking save electricity to do it. So the main thing that sucks up the energy is a heater, because up there is cold as fuck. So they need to cut off the heater. So they're fucking freezing and everything's getting condensed. So they figure out one way or another, you need to watch it, to get back to Earth. But everything was a fucking ordeal, because once you're like back in Earth, you need to enter Earth in a specific angle, because if you enter it but the angle is too steep, then you're just gonna bounce and go like it's gonna drag you a little, but you're gonna keep going in space forever. And if you go too direct in Earth, then poof. So you need to go in a perfect angle. Dude, it was like when you watch this thing, it was biblical. People and broadcast stations were waiting for when they were coming in, because they didn't know if the heat shield was gonna like endure it all and kill them. And it was like I never thought like this. I never thought this should happen. So yeah, so pretty much.
You're holding out on me. What the fuck? What's the ending of this?
I prefer to say like this, and then have you ask me what you think is interesting to know, because otherwise I feel like I'm ranting on this shit. I could talk for hours, but
yeah.
What are your questions on it or your thoughts?
Dude, I mean, all right. So like, I know of the mission. I don't know if they made it back or not. I mean, I know there's an Apollo 13, and like I'm trying to think of it like Hollywood style, like, oh guys, like, go, I'll stay with the ship. You guys go in the little pod and fucking hit it. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, I don't know, like what. I guess my questions is like, how did they do it?
Dude, it was like that. It was like on some hero type shit.
And some hero shit?
On like some movie type shit, bro. Bro, when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, like I saw it when I was a kid. I didn't get it. This is like a real story, and it's for reals. The movie says the real shit that happened. I mean, obviously, they have to always make it a little nicer with Tom Hanks and Kevin Bacon and all this shit. But, bro, I'm telling you, dog, it was on some hero shit. So when they were coming back, to give you a little nuggets, they had oxygen, right? Okay, we figured out how to have enough oxygen for everybody. Okay, cool. But now they're throwing carbon monoxide into the ship, because that's what you throw out when you breathe.
Yeah.
And the little ship was only designed to take care of you for a day. So like, you needed filters to filter out this shit.
Oh.
But they only had a lot of filters for the other ship. And you know what? The filters were different, bro. One of them was cylinder and the other one was a square. So they had to, in the bottom, in Earth, tell all the engineers that knew the type of like the materials that were inside the thing, like, oh, this duct tape. There was one guy that for some reason like, oh, we should include duct tape on the thing. Without the duct tape, they wouldn't have been able to make this little adapter with like, dude, using folders and shit, so that the square thing could fit on the cylinder filter, so that they wouldn't die intoxicated with their own carbon monoxide. And this is just one of the problems that they had to figure out on the way, bro. All I'm thinking, because this guy, if he's not, I don't know if he's, I think he's still alive, but there's a lot of interviews on him. They asked him, like, oh, were you thinking about death? And, like, he's like, no, I couldn't. Like, I had to do a job, so I did the job. And I'm just like, I did the job? What the fuck? Like, dude, these are different people. I wouldn't have been able to do any of that shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Houston, fix this shit.
Yeah, right? Send the Uber.
Yo, talk to Trump. You better rescue me up in this motherfucker. Dude, it's insane what they did. Insane, man.
Oh, wow. No, hey, man, you know what? I got nothing to do this afternoon. That's probably what I'm going to watch. So, seems like quite a story.
Yeah. There's and both in Netflix, you have the movie Apollo 13 and you have the documentary on the mission control. Whatever you prefer to watch first, it's the same. But, dude, it's crazy. This is one of the craziest stories that I've revisited, because I never really thought about it before. And it just makes me think, like, man, sometimes humans, yes, we're pieces of shit, and there's a lot of shit, killings, people hate on each other, all these things. But, bro, also, humans can do insane, marvelous things,
Yeah. And, at the end of the day, like, back then, you had Russia and everybody, like, trying to get to the moon first because, it's a territorial thing. It was a nuclear war thing. But, like, I mean, then you have these stories, and if the Russians had this sort of story that happened to them, I'd be like Team Russia. I'd be Team Russia, right? I mean, be like, I guess what I'm saying is I'd be happy for them. It's funny though how everything that we know, I feel like all the shit, all the crazy stuff, movie-esque stuff, has always happened to America, and I wonder, are there more stories like this, but for other countries in the world? I'm
pretty sure. I mean, at the end of the day, all these movies, they're propaganda. And even though they are stories, like real stories, you know what I mean? Like, it's sort of like, it is biased. It's always like that,
Right. That's what I'm thinking of. Like, it can't possibly be just America. You know what I mean? It feels like everything happens to America.
I think on Netflix, there's also a documentary on the Russian guy, and I have his name here. It's Yuri Gagarin. And this is the first guy to go into space. And he orbited the Earth for 2 hours, almost. And so there's actually a movie. There's a movie on Netflix that came out in 2013. I might watch this. So this tells a story. But you are right. Like, it seems that a lot of times, the story, they say the story gets told by the winner.
Yeah.
By the victor. Or rather, story is written by the victor. So, and it is fucked up, like, and the stories is always like, yeah, we're the triumph and all this thing, and so, but who knows? But with the Apollo thing, man, fuck that, I don't care. No, but it is true what happened. I mean,
yeah. Yeah.
You know what's funny? When I was watching all these documentaries, I started thinking about the flat Earth people,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just like, how could you even think that is an option when there's so much evidence that not only that there is space and that we went to space, but like none of it would work if all this physics and things that we figured out are based on the fact that this is a sphere. So otherwise, people would have just crashed into like we wouldn't have been able to do anything that we've done if it
There's
wasn't
no such thing
because
as orbit if you can't
yeah,
go
it
around
was
an
like,
orb.
Like I know nobody thinks this is for reals, but I'm just thinking like, how could you even fancy the idea on something like I understand if you're going like a lot of conspiracy theories have holes in them. Or rather, conspiracy theories are about stories that have holes in them, and you could be like, you're crazy, but I get what you're saying. Like if that was to be that in this, then yeah. Like, who killed JFK? Like, well, the guy, he was talking to the communists and shit. It's like, I guess, could be. I don't think so, but it could be. But with this thing, it's like, as a flat Earth thinker, like, how there's no way, like, and they're like, no, because everybody's lying, and they have this lie all together. Bro, humans, even though we're really marvelous at things, we're too stupid to, like, keep a secret, like, between millions of people. Like,
Yeah.
But when you see this thing, you're like, oh, yeah. It makes it so much even more true that you're like, of course there's a space, and because all the things they did, man, it's insane, and they did it with the power of a little calculator.
Right. Oh boy.
But that's humans for you. I know you're an animal lover, but humans also do some crazy stuff. But anyways, dude, that was one that I wanted to talk to you about. And for everybody watching, make sure to watch My Octopus Teacher on Netflix, and also Apollo 13 and Mission Control documentary. Really amazing if you want to take a look at things that are informative and interesting. And we'll see you in a few days with the next episode. Thank you for tuning in, and peace out. Don't be fucking octopus, for real though.